Llévate más de lo que esperas todos los días con el nuevo McValue en McDonald's. Ahora puedes comprar uno y sumarle otro por $1. Así que cuando tu equipo favorito enfrente a sus rivales, enfrenta tus antojos con $5 Meal Deals. Y si estás corriendo para alcanzar el desayuno, corre a la app para llevarte ofertas antes del cutoff. Tú decides, y con McValue, tu decisión siempre rinde más. Precios y participación pueden variar. BOGO $1 válido para un producto de igual o menor valor. Debe estar registrado en Rewards para ofertas en el app.
This episode is brought to you by Atlassian. Atlassian makes the team collaboration software that powers enterprise businesses around the world, including over 80% of the Fortune 500. With Atlassian's AI-powered software like Jira, Confluence, and Loom, you'll have more time to do the work that matters. In fact, Atlassian customers experience a 25% reduction in project duration per year. Unleash the potential of your team at Atlassian.com. Atlassian.
Good afternoon, guys, and welcome to the podcast, wherever you are in the world. I have coming from France, Nathalie Doremieux, and she is actually an entrepreneur. And the number one problem she helps clients solve, especially women entrepreneurs, is helping them create profitable and scalable membership sites and online programs that generate recurring revenue while keeping members engaged and coming back for more. She's all about the wow factor and the fanatical fan, and she's going to talk to us leveraging her expertise in AI as well, which is going to be really interesting, and I'm really happy to welcome her to the show. So Nathalie, welcome.
Thank you so much for having me, Christopher.
Yeah, you have an interesting background because you worked in the Bay Area in the biotech, and sounds like you're very successful, and then now you're in France. Talk about your journey and we'll dive into the questions.
Yeah, sure. So the whole story. So I am in France right now. I am in the south of France. So it's 8:30 p.m. as we record. And basically, long story short, I met my husband at school, in college. And after school, we decided to pack our bags and go live in the US, live the American dream. Family thought we were crazy, but we had an engineering background, software engineers in ergonomics and human-computer interaction, which at the time, 1995, nobody cared about. It was like, what the hell this is, especially in France. So we went there for the summer and we were like, we'll try to look for a job. If we find one, great. If we're not, we'll come back. Within 1 month, I found a job in the Silicon Valley in Berkeley. And we got married in Reno, which is the little Las Vegas, so that he could stay. A month later, I got his job. And then we stayed there for 10 years in the corporate. So we went up the ladder. My husband ended up becoming a director at Applied Biosystem, huge biotech company. He worked on the human genome. I did amazing things in biotech as well. Worked for HP, Agilent Technologies. And in 2005, we decided to sell everything and move back to France. And I had actually fell asleep at the wheel twice.
Wow.
Right? So life was crazy. It was great. Don't get me wrong. Going to Hawaii several times a year, camping in the mountains, everything's fine. But you're just hustling and you don't even have time to enjoy life. And I couldn't see myself doing this until I'm even 50. No way. So when one day he said, do you want to go back? I'm like, yes. So we packed everything and we moved back to France, where we are here right now, actually. So we're in the south of France. We're 2 hours from my mother-in-law, not too close, not too far, And it's been great. We were going to stay here for 2 years and we ended up staying and starting our own business.
Yeah, very fascinating. The American dream achieved very quickly. And that's what I love about America. If you have grit and hustle and work ethic, you can make anything happen. Yeah. And I love the San Francisco Bay Area, Berkeley. Yeah. So we'll dive right into the questions. First thing is talking about is just what is it about? So why did you choose membership sites and online programs? What is about those that make that your ideal product or service for your ideal clients?
Yeah, sure. So we actually started when we came, we started building software because we were software engineers. So you're like, we can build software, we can make it really cool. Worked on it for over a year before, and we didn't talk to anybody because we hated marketing, we hated sales. And then when we finished it, we started to present it to people and nobody bought. That's when we knew something was terribly wrong. So fast forward to, we started to work with people in the US. We quickly realized that France was a bit late in some of the technologies and from what we had seen in the US. So we started building websites. And then very quickly, I had the opportunity to meet someone who was helping people with online courses. So we started to look into the e-learning. And one of the things, so my husband was my business partner, has really quickly identified that there was a problem with e-learning. Like most people buy courses and don't finish them. And that's a problem, right? So we started to build e-learning online courses because it's this opportunity of having such a big impact, right? Worldwide, you can sell worldwide, right? Now, the problem with online courses, like I said, is most people don't finish them. And then there was another thing that it took me years. Actually, I probably found this, I think that was with a coach like in 2018, why I am attracted by the membership model. And it's because deep down, I am not the entrepreneur. My husband is always wanted to create his business, be his own boss. And I was just following. In fact, he fired me not once, but twice because I was like acting like an employee. So it's always been like, I'm not a risk taker. So when I started to hear about the membership model, I got really attracted by it because you can have the best of both worlds. You can run your business, but you have that financial predictability where you're not starting your months at zero. I'm like, oh my gosh, that is really cool. And then on top of that, I was like, but you know what? When you have a course and your stuff is good, but people are just not implementing. So at the end of the course, you don't have the testimonials, you don't have the case studies, and you're frustrated. Why not create a membership, either after the course or you do an hybrid, so that people have more time to actually implement and you have ongoing support. So not only you continue to help your clients, you continue to make money. So it's a win for everybody. So that's why I'm like, most people that don't have that thing where they can continue to help people, they are leaving money on the table because these people, they're going to somebody else for the next stuff. Right? So I guess that's why I'm so attracted to the membership model. And it's this idea of creating a community. I always belong like to several memberships. I cannot do this alone. This concept of learning and like growing and all of these yourself watching videos, that doesn't work for me. I need to be surrounded by others that show me what is possible because that's inspiring to me. Mm-hmm. And I love to share my wins as well, because it's empowering too. I love to help. So when I can share something that's been helpful, like an accelerator or something, that's very empowering to me as well. So that's basically where this is coming from and why I'm so passionate about this model.
Yeah, I can really tell your passion, your enthusiasm. And it's interesting because also membership, because you come from software. And I think some of the greatest innovations over the last 2 decades have been predominantly software. Mm-hmm. And there's a great book, The Membership Economy, which I encourage the readers. It's fascinating, and you can scale a membership model very easily in your software. Which brings me to my next question is, it is like a overarching theme. And I was listening to Mark Zuckerberg on a podcast the other day, and also A16Z, and they were talking about how AI and ChatGPT is going to make coders and software engineers obsolete because now you can code it with the bots. And how does this new technology, AI, how is it going to change software engineering, membership models, coding, apps? What are your thoughts?
AI is here to stay, and it's only going to get better. But again, like we were sharing earlier before you started recording, to me, this is an accelerator. So my husband is still we do custom AI development inside memberships because to create tools to accelerate clients' results. Mm-hmm. And there are tools that can create code. But oh my God, that you still have to know. You're not probably not a coder, so you won't understand, but still need to know like the algorithmics and how things fit together. With AI, it all comes down to what you ask, right? So it's the power of how you ask things. And it's an accelerator for sure. I can tell you, like, it's doing things much faster now because you can leverage it. But you will always need software engineer. Like, I don't see it being a place where that's not something that scares me at all. I think that what we have to do is we have to learn to work with it to provide faster results for people.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a tool and it's an accelerator, and like you were talking about, like garbage in, garbage out. But if you like really know what you're doing, you can actually, it's an assistant, and it's like
Exactly.
it's like having a printing press or having a car versus a buggy wagon, or just a computer versus a calculator, these types of technologies. So my next question I have for you is just this membership model, and how can entrepreneurs use AI to create and manage scalable, results-driven membership programs?
So basically the idea, a lot of people with AI right now are like, okay, people are using it, I have to use it. And there are like hundreds of tools, literally. Some tools that get created, some tools that disappear, right? So it's very easy to get into this rat wheel of looking at tools, and you could spend trying tools all day. What I tell people is reverse the thing. It's like AI is a tool. So when somebody comes to me and say, how can we integrate AI? I'm like, what problem are you trying to solve? So very concretely what it is, because people don't know what it can do. They just know that it sounds cool, and they have to get on the train because it is starting to be expected by people. I don't know if you noticed that. So the way we look at it is, when you have a program, right? Let's say you're a coach, you're an online business coach, you have a program, and there is an exercise that you make them do. And you notice that when you give assignments to people, some people do it and some people get a bit stuck. So you want to identify those places where there is potential resistance, and you're like, okay, can I create a tool? Can I give them something that is going to help them make a decision faster? So that can be, for example, I don't know, I need to send an invite to all my past clients to let them know that I am going to create a membership, and I want to know if they would want to be on my interest list. Okay. Some people are going to be, oh, no problem, I write it down. Some people are going to go to ChatGPT. Problem with ChatGPT is you need to know what to ask it, because most people use it like Google. So they get the type of result that Google will give you. Or you can give them a form that is actually going to ask them key questions. Why do you want to do this? Why prompted this idea? What problem are you going to solve for them? Who is this really for? Okay, so they fill this out, and then with the prompt, we craft an email. And then suddenly they read the email and they're like, wow, that's actually what I'm thinking. Yes. So this is an accelerator, for example. So now there is no more resistance. It's like the problem is not, oh, I need to write the email. Like, we have a tool for you. So this is how we look into AI. The other big one that we're doing is we are adding an AI assistant as a support system, right? So the memberships that we built are on WordPress exclusively, because we love that you own your platform and the customization that it allows. So basically, we create those assistants that we load with your program, and they can ask questions. So now you add this new level of support that was not available before, right? So there are different ways like this where it's about accelerating their results, right? Because again, when they get results, they talk about you, you get the case studies, the testimonial. And that's really how you're successful. Is not by how much money you made selling, it's the impact that you have as well, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And it's using ChatGPT for just keywords and editing. And it's been really, like you said, it's an accelerator.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Talking about membership models And how do you choose the right membership models? What factors should entrepreneurs consider, and how can they use AI in choosing the right membership model?
Yeah, there are like quite a few models. And I think the best approach for this is really to look into what problem you're trying to solve and what is your solution going to look like. Because a lot of people, one of the things that scare people with memberships is, oh my gosh, I'm going to have to create a lot of content. But guess what? It's not about content, because people are not signing up to watch your videos. They sign up for transformation, for a result. So if you can give it to them with less content, even better. So I have this framework that I call the CSA model. I've been talking about this for years. It stands for content, support, and accountability. So you have to look into these three elements of your program to determine what is required for them to get the transformation. How much content? Not too much, but what is required? Mixed with support, right? They need to be able to ask questions if they are stuck and things like that. Accountability, because we're all busy and we need to keep them accountable if it's a priority to them. So the model then evolves around, you can imagine somebody that is getting started, a more junior, is going to have more time on their hand because they don't have like maybe a business yet. So they have more time. They don't have the money, but they have time. So they can consume more content. They can come on more calls and things like that. Somebody that is on a 7, 8, 9 figure is not going to want to watch video. They might want to come on calls and ask a specific question or something like that. So you also need to adapt to how people want to be taught, right? Mm-hmm. So it's not just you deciding, it's also the audience telling you. That's what I tell people is really that you want to get into co-creation with your audience. Uh-huh. So step one is you build an interest list. So you start to talk about it. You want hand raisers. People raise their hand and say, hey, I'm interested. You don't know the price. You don't know what it looks like, when it's going to be, but that sounds interesting. Once you get that, you get into co-creation with them to figure out what are their thoughts, what they would want to see. And then you match it with what you want. Because one thing that is really important is that a membership is a way for you to really scale your expertise, your impact, your income, and get your time back if you don't get in the trap of creating another job for yourself. So you've got to be really clear on how you want to show up in the membership. I've seen people get super excited and let's do weekly calls and let's do this. And then 3-4 months in, they are like, oh, it's too much. So it's better to give them less at the start and over deliver, right? Than to get carried away. So in short, the model really is going to depend on your solution. It's usually a combination of content. There is usually a community, sometimes some calls, those memberships where you throw content every month and then people pay to get access. Unless it's a resource that they need and you're like saving them time on something, they don't work so much because people need more and more that support and that accountability to get result. Because if they get result, guess what? They'll stay. So that's really what it comes down to.
And if someone was interested in launching a membership site, what are the best platforms? Is it their website? Is it like social media or other platforms? Thinkific?
Okay, I am a WordPress gal, but I'm not going to tell you that WordPress is the solution because all these platforms exist for a reason, and there are people that are really successful on it. What I would say is that you have 2 schools. You either pick a platform, so you're going to go Thinkific, Teachable, Learn Worlds, News and Learn, I can go on, right? And then you learn that platform really well, and then you build your membership around it. That's the best way to not get frustrated with a tool, right? Because you use the tool and this is what you work with. Or you go the other way around, which is what my clients want, is you design a program and then you find the tool to make it happen. Because when somebody tells me, what is the best membership platform? And I'm like, it's like asking, what's the best car? Do you live by the beach, by the mountain? Do you have kids? Do you plan to have kids? It depends. So unlike other people that will tell you those platforms are really bad, I'm like, they have their purpose. They are not bad. They are not just customizable in a way that some people want and need. But that means that they have maybe another place where they make the connection and where the true transformation happens. It certainly doesn't happen on Thinkific, for sure.
A follow-up question I have for you is there's a lot of creators listening to this. And for example, a lot of them give free content. They have Spotify or YouTube, or they have got Twitter or Instagram, and people, the question I have for you is, you're giving out free content, like free great stuff, and then now you have to go and build a membership site. What isn't that doubling it? Like, it's making you, then now you have two jobs. You're providing free content plus you're creating a membership site. So then now isn't that kind of inefficient and redundant? What is your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so that's a good question. So the free content and the content in the membership are very different. The goal of your free content is to build your authority, for people to get to know you, to learn. They will say typically that you tell them the what. Some programs, I've seen some programs do that, where they address a lot of the mindset around the business, right? Because if you put it in the program and the first thing you talk about is the mindset, people are, no, I didn't sign up for a program for a mindset thing. So by listening to the podcast, they get into all these like limited beliefs and all that stuff, right? And then when they buy the course, they've been listening to the podcast for like months or years, and it helps a lot for people to actually implement and go beyond their level of comfort and stuff like that. But in short, the goal, if you look at the purpose of your free content, it needs to have a purpose, right? So it's going to be a mix of authority, but it's going to be a mix of also, so there is this guy, Brian, I'm missing the last name, but I've been following him in this podcast. And he's saying that his free content is value that people can get result from without hiring him. And I thought that was like a good way of presenting it. There's got to be value. So it shows people that it's possible for them to actually get results, because one of the reasons people don't sign up to something is because they don't believe in themselves. So you show them that, you show them like, you give them idea of what your method. Very often they would explain the method, but so much is available for free right now. But it's about curating it, staying focused, getting the support and the accountability and the feedback that we need to actually get the result, right? So they go hand in hand. To me, it's like the free content is really what is building your audience, right? People get to know you. You get to test as well the content that resonates with people. And the membership is, okay, now let's work together and actually make it happen, because you got some type of result by yourself. But imagine if you get in and you get my support and my eyes on your stuff, what you could be getting.
Interesting. A follow-up question I have for you is, for people that they've garnered a large audience or large following, and let's say they got products, one-off products here and there, or courses, is it like, and they're interested in launching a membership site, is it better to just tell the audience in let's say a YouTube video or a podcast and say, oh, I have a new membership, and put the sign up link there, and then build it, like basically beta launch it, and then build it on the back end? Or is it better to build out the entire membership community and then say, oh, I have this? What are your thoughts?
There are several angles that you can go with. If you know that you're going to do it and you want to have a free level inside the membership, that's one way to do it. That's actually like when somebody has an audience and know they want to go that far because they want to do less of what they were doing, and this is going to become the business.
Yeah.
Then what they do is they do a launch, right? So you've got all this pre-launch content, all these free resources that you put inside the membership. So they have one foot inside, and then there is all this stuff that's grayed out. So they're like, ooh, so you put teasers. So that's one way to do it. Now, to test an idea, and that's actually why I created, it's not open right now, but I created a program. It's not a course. I'm not calling it a course. It's an implementation program, and it's very driven by AI for people to get their first members. And I know people are scared of like choosing the wrong platform. What content do I need to create? How much content do I need? This is a question that I need. I get asked all the time. How much do I need? I don't know. How long is a piece of string? And then they're like, will I like it? Are people going to want it? And I'm like, you can beta test it. Build an interest list, right? When it's big enough, launch it to that list and tell them it will be available in 30 days. Yeah. And then now you've got the money to actually build the thing, and you've got the motivation because this is something that people want. Yeah. So that's like selling it before you make it. Uh-huh. And there is a whole way that you create that offer, right? So maybe you're going to say my membership would be $97 per month, but for you guys, it's going to be $50 for life. It's not built yet, but we're going to get into co-creation, and we're going to create something that works for you, that works for me. And for you, it creates that foundation so that when you launch, you already have members in your community, right? What is great about this is like my clients, when they go through, so my program's called First Members, when they go through that, 47 to 50% of the interest list is converted into paying members.
Wow.
And that's huge. Why? Because there are people that have raised their hand. I tell people like, you want to build a membership? Talk about it and see if people raise their hand. Because if they don't for free, how do you expect them to pay later? And they're like, oh, you're right. So, and the reason it works is because you involve people. So by involving them, they already feel like they are part of it, right? It's just a matter of when. So when you open the door and say, do you want it before anybody else, by the way, 50% off. And sometimes you get the little badge, founding members, like, ooh, really proud. So that's how you test.
Sergeant and Mr. Smith, you're going to love this house.
Bunk beds in a closet?
There's no field manual for finding the right home. But when you do, USAA Homeowners Insurance can help protect it the right way. Restrictions apply.
I think I just won my taxes.
Yeah?
I just switched to H&R Block in about 1 minute. All I had to do was drag and drop last year's return into H&R Block, and bam, my information is automatically there.
So I don't have to go digging around for all my old papers to switch?
Nope.
Sounds like we just leveled up our tax game.
Switching to H&R Block is easy. Just drag and drop your last return. It's better with Block.
Mm-hmm. Interesting.
Right? So that's one way. Or you can build, but I'm going to be honest with you. We've had lots of clients that came to us where I sold them on the idea of what it could be, and we built the platform and they never launched it for one reason or so. Then I'm like, I'm not doing this anymore. Now I ask people, do you have an audience? Are people like, is that something that people want? Because I don't want to take them. I feel bad when I look back at the memberships that we've built and they're gone. I'm like, I don't feel good about that. Yeah. But I can help you figure out. And I tell them in a strategy session, I'll tell them, let's do that. And let's validate your idea before we build it.
Wow.
Because if it doesn't work, you can pivot. You can do something else, right?
Yeah. I wish we could have more time. I know you have your next call. How can people find you and reach out to you and check out your work?
Sure. The best way is to go to themembershiplab.com. And then I have a page with some gifts, some free. There is a monthly recurring revenue calculator, so you can find out what it takes to make 5, 10, 50K a month. And I have a membership planner that talks about this pilot program that you can run. And it is at themembershiplab.com/gift.
Excellent.
Then you can find me on LinkedIn if you can type my name.
Yeah, we'll put all those links in the show notes. And thanks so much for coming on. I really enjoyed it. I think memberships is really an interesting area. And for all the audience, these links will be in the show notes. So thanks so much.
Thank you so much for having me.